Greetings and welcome back to yet another very special team daily. Because it's Easter and because religion plays such a huge part in the game, you could pretty much expect that there was gonna be a special team daily for Easter as well. So happy Easter to all of those who do actually celebrate it. I don't know if happy Easter is the right way to congratulate you or to give my best wishes, but essentially I wish that if you've been celebrating Easter, that everything went well and that your life is okay, and that's basically all I can do, because I'm not religious and I haven't been much in the Bible or the scriptures or anything like that. I don't know much about the subject, so if I say something, or maybe if you want to share a story with me, educate me a little bit, I would be more than happy to read about it. But because this is a special Easter theme daily, we start out with 3 Easter themed items, or at least Jesus Christ Bible themed items. And we have Stigmata, we have Blood of the Martyr, and we also have the Nail as our active item. As a whole, this is a great combination of items, because not only do we get a health up, we also get a damage up, but with the Nail especially, we can generate enough soul hearts and spirit hearts to pretty much guarantee a devil deal on the second floor, and thankfully that led us to Maw of the Void. So even though this daily didn't really have any treasure room, so we weren't able to get stronger that way, just this starting combination of items, which gives us not only health but also quite a bit of damage, allows us to pretty much have an infinite amount of HP, and especially later on as we actually go through the levels, we can also use the Nail to traverse the rocks, open up the paths. So what maybe a lot of people don't realize is that when you use the Nail, you can walk over rocks to destroy them, and of course you can make passages and things like that, but maybe a more nuanced way to go about it, even if there is a one wide gap, so like a pit or whatever, and you want to get over it, and if there's a rock next to it, you can put a bomb down to actually make a pad, but you can also use the Nail, use the active item, and then walk in the direction of where you want the pad to be created, and the Nail actually works like that, and you're gonna get your pet and you can cross that gap, and it's a really good strategy. It has a lot of potential uses, but it's always that decision. I think the Nail is a very interesting item, because it's always that trade-off. Are you gonna use it offensively to actually kill enemies in a room, because it gives you this boost of power, it gives you some damage, or will use it maybe more as a utility-wise and use it in a room just to get over some rocks and maybe get a few consumables. Obviously, if you have enough battery charges, you don't really have to worry about it like we do with Jera and Blankheart, but in some situations, it can actually be a really interesting decision, and especially if your run is really weak, you tend to rely on that damage just to get you through the rooms. Maybe what's a bit unfortunate about it is that it gives your speed down, and I think that's a bit unwarranted, because the damage up isn't as significant. I know that you get a spirit heart, so maybe it would be a bit overpowered, but it has a lot of niche uses, and I really like it as an active item. It's one of those classic active items, which is maybe not too spectacular or maybe not as flashy, but it does have a lot of utilities and uses which you can use it for. And as a concept, I really like the idea. So what happened to this run is I got Blankheart and then I found Jera, so you can imagine where this is going. We pretty much don't have to worry about anything, and what I did is I went into the shop, I started duplicating with the Blankheart and Jera, and one of those cards was a Judgment card, and I thought that was the perfect opportunity because I had 2 red health containers, I had an infinite amount of red health. Why not spawn a bunch of Judgments? I'm gonna play them and I'm gonna get a bunch of items out of them, and that's exactly what I did, and I think I did that for like 4 minutes. I just skipped it in the video so you don't have to watch me do it over and over again. And I got a bunch of items. I mainly got some of the syringes, which you get from the Devil Beggar. That gave me the Sponge transformation, also get some damage, and also got Euthanasia. So my damage is actually pretty great. With Succubus, 13 damage up to 20, allows me to pretty much instantly kill most of the enemies in most of the rooms. But I also have a very good belt or items against bosses, because I can charge up Maw of the Void. If I'm not afraid to get close and personal, that actually deals a lot of damage and allows me to pretty much one-shot most enemies. So the run went well, and I was really happy about the prospects of how it's looking, because even though I think I finished Caves 2 at 15 minutes, which means I had 5 minutes to explore the entirety of 2 floors to get to Mom, but because my run was so strong, because I had a really good room clearing potential, I was actually I managed to pull it off, and I did get to boss rush in time. So that allowed me to kind of not break the game, but it did allow me to kind of spread it wide open. I was able to get in there, get that boss rush bonus, and I was on my merry way. And I even had the teleport card, the treasure, the one that teleports you to the treasure room, but because there's no treasure rooms, you just teleport you to a random room. But essentially it did allow me to teleport out of boss rush, and now I'm just exploring the rest of the floor, and I'm heading into Womb 1 and Womb 2. I do only have 4 minutes here, so I'm kinda strapped for time again. I did expect this to happen, but essentially every time I find a blank card plus Sierra early on, my strategy tends to be that I try to use it offensively, and I try to get a lot of good items. So what I do is I start duplicating chests, I maybe find a judgment card and do what I did this time, just to get as much of items as possible. I try to get a really powerful run, and then I just try to steamroll the entirety rest of the game. And because I have blank card and Yara, after I beat Harsh, I'm gonna have enough time to actually break the game, and especially with Sackboy, and later I get Sack of Sacks, that would allow me to get enough battery charges and just enough consumables to actually pull that off. So the run looked really good, so you might be wondering, maybe you looked at my score previous to that, and you said, but you didn't finish that well, how can you mess this one up? And you even got hit like something like 4 times in total, so even in that department you're actually doing quite well. What went wrong? Well, the first mistake was in the Hush shop. So even though I had all of these crazy items that went alongside it, what I decided to do is, I don't have enough bombs, so I might as well just take my time here because there's a bomb here. I'll use as many bombs as possible, and that's exactly what I started doing. I tried to use it again to duplicate it, but I had an ace of diamonds in my hand. I accidentally picked it up, and I transformed everything on the ground into coins, including my Yara rune. So now I'm strapped without a Yara rune. Great. So what do I do now? Without a Yara rune, obviously I can't break the game, and I have some Algiz runes outside, but obviously that's not really gonna help me. I did get some bombs, at least out of that I got a lot of luck ups, and with luck ups of course I have some items which affect it, but maybe what's even better is because I got enough luck ups, because of that I can go to the Void Floor now, I can get a bunch of sacks, and there's a good chance that I can find another Yara rune, and even if I don't necessarily, I maybe still get enough consumables to actually get a decent swag bonus at the end. So things weren't looking too dire, it wasn't too chaotic or too catastrophic, so I was feeling still pretty good about myself. So my strategy now was, okay, instead of me trying to find a Yara rune, obviously it would be pretty great if it does show up, I'll just maybe try to find a Purple rune, or at least I did find it, and I'll try to use the Purple rune in the boss rooms. I'll try to reroll them essentially until I get a Forget Me Now. I'll explore the entirety of the floor, and as soon as I enter the boss room, and if there is Delirium, I'm just gonna pop the Forget Me Now. I'm gonna explore the entirety of the second void, which is probably gonna be quite a bit of points, and when that happens, obviously there's even more chance that I will find the Yara rune on the second iteration of the void floor. So that would allow me to not only break the game and just have a bunch of points, I would also be able to explore the entirety of the void floor twice. So that's exactly what I set out myself to do, but for some reason my brain just wasn't working. I was so set up, I was kind of thinking about how I messed up with a Yara rune, and I was thinking, was there maybe other strategies or things I could have done in order to break this game wide open, to maybe get the advantage I had with the items that I had, and I just walked into Delirium. And you might be saying, you couldn't have known, you know, every time you enter a boss room it could have been a Delirium, but you can actually tell whether there's a chance that a particular boss room is a Delirium or not, and what you look out for is, you can imagine that if it's a regular boss room, it's always gonna have a one by one room, it's gonna be as big, but if it's a Delirium room, it's gonna look as, on the map at least, as if it's just a 1x1 room, but it's actually a 2x2 room. So what you have to check is if it can border any other rooms on the edges, so to say. So what you're looking for is essentially a room that's not isolated. So if you can imagine it being a 2x2 room and it doesn't border any other rooms, no matter what permutation you put it in, then you know that there's a chance for that room to be a Delirium. I shouldn't visit it until you explore the entirety or the rest of the void floor. But I didn't check that. Like I said, I got mind flooded, I guess. I just walked into there and Delirium was waiting for me, and I just exited the run in shame and thought to myself that I made a grave mistake. So what did this mistake end up costing me? First of all, I lost about 8,000 points from Shrek bonus. So that would have been pretty good, something like 52,000, but I've also lost a potential additional 3,000 exploration bonus. Let's say that we didn't find a Forget Me Now, that's like 3,000 points in additional, so I essentially lost myself 11,000 points in total, which would have been definitely something like the top 10, but if I was lucky enough to get a Forget Me Now, which I think I could have forced, especially if I found a Yara rune, I would have duplicated a bunch of battery charges, and I could have just purchased until I just forced it into existence. I would have used that in that case, and that would allow me to get something like to 60,000, which would definitely be the highest score of this whole run. Obviously it would still be lower because I might have gotten hits at some point in time, or maybe I just take too much time to actually find the Forget Me Now and I will lose just some points due to time penalty, but overall it was such a potential run, and because this is my 100th daily, I felt like this is my time. This was my time to actually shine, to get a really decent score, and I was on the right way. I just made a little mistake. Maybe that's more representative of me than just getting a good score. I don't consider myself to be a good player, maybe in some cases, but mainly I'm a player which tries to play for fun, and sometimes I end up making mistakes. Silly mistakes like this. It's just a game, what can you do? But I do find it kind of ironic and kind of funny that this happened on exactly my 100 daily in total. So, what can you do? I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.